of this guy who just says, I hate this team. I just either be good or be bad, but please stop with the roller coaster ride up and down. Could you help a Mariner fan? Yes, it's bad with the Mariners and the polar swings. How typical is it around baseball right now?
That's the right question to ask, Mike, because it's every single team not named the Milwaukee Brewers. That is what baseball is in 2025. This is going to be the big story I'm writing for the playoffs, actually. Just the up and down nature and the inability for any team to make you think it's actually good. Because just when you think it's good, all of a sudden they'll lose 5 in a row. And it's not just the Mariners. It's the Yankees, and it's the Mets, and it's the Red Sox, and it's the Cubs, and it's the Phillies, and I can go, hell, the Dodgers, the Padres. I can go on and on about all the teams that we thought coming into this season were going to be stalwarts and were going to be the best of the best. And even they're not immune to these whipsaw moments where over the course of 2 weeks, a team can look like it deserves the number one pick in the draft and looks like at a completely different time, it deserves to be fitted for a ring. So I have a hard time explaining it. I'm trying to figure that out before we run the story because I don't want to, I don't want to sit there and say, well, this is happening, but emoji shrug.
What are the theories? What are the theories that have been floated or any info you've garnered so far?
I think that it is a function of parity. And parity is not a word that you often hear when it comes to baseball because we've been conditioned to believe that in order to have true parity, you need to have a capped system. And that in a sport where you have one team paying $60 million in payroll and another team paying $400 billion, there's inherent disparity. But I think so many of these teams have been formed with the same ideologies. I really do wonder if, the sabermetric revolution's ultimate consequence was going to be that everyone was going to be some slightly different version of the same team. And I do wonder if that's what we're running into this year, where all of the ideals and goals of teams are really, really similar. Like you don't have teams out there that are constructed completely differently from the masses. And so you just have a bunch of the same teams. And the way that baseball works, you're going to have losses and you're going to have skids and you're going to have rough stretches. And it's just what everyone's going through.
How about the recent heat wave of one Julio Rodríguez? He puts himself with Mike Trout and Alex Rodriguez in many areas, right? Stolen bases, home runs, first 4 years. He's accumulated numbers with those two guys. Why is Julio still such a polarizing yet unbelievable, likable superstar?
This is a tough one because I think I've said this before, but I think so many people view Julio through the lens of what we thought he was going to be versus what he is. But I got to say, boys, since the All-Star break in particular, what he is who we thought he was going to be, right?
Yes.
He's been doing this for a good 2 months now. And if you look since the All-Star break, I don't know if you guys have looked at this. Where do you think Julio Rodríguez in the entire sport ranks in wins above replacement since the middle of July?
I think he's top 5. I think I saw this, right? Top 5.
Yeah, that is correct. Number 5, Corbin Carroll. Number 4, Bryce Terang. Number 3, Julio Rodríguez. Number 2, Trey Turner. Number 1, Nick Kurtz.
So is he like an NFL game? We just need to fast forward through the first 3.5 months? Just fast forward to the final.
Julio is ahead of Ohtani. Julio is ahead of Bobby Witt, both of whom, by the way, have had good second halves. Julio's ahead of Vlad, ahead of Juan Soto, ahead of Francisco Lindor, Junior Caminero and Roman Anthony in the same sort of young cohort that he has. One thing about Julio, and we look at the heater that he's been on this past week. He hasn't walked once. In the second half, he has a 2.9% walk rate. The only guys who are walking less are Michael Harris II and Ernie Clement. So Julio, he has and will continue to have warts, because I don't think that that's changing. I don't think he's suddenly going to develop elite plate discipline in his mid-20s. I've been wrong, and doubting guys who are as talented as he is often a fool's errand, but I don't think that's his style. But still, he hits the ball hard enough and consistently enough and puts it in play enough where he has a batting average over 300. The on-base percentage is, in the 330s, which is at the tolerable place, and he's slugging 600 plus. And when you do that with well above average center field defense, it makes you one of the 10 best players in baseball. That is unquestionably what he's been.
Is he a modern day Vlad Guerrero Sr.? Just listening to you describe that, what I'm hearing,
I don't. I don't think he is as talented a hitter as Vlad Sr. was.
With the bad balls that Vlad could hit that were outside the zone. All right, maybe not. But I don't know,
not just that, but with the lack of strikeouts as well. Vlad had like an 11 or 12% strikeout rate his whole career.
Jeez.
So
that's incredible.
Yeah, I know. It was ridiculous. And Vlad also walked more than Julio did. I get your instinct there, because it's like, Vlad has this reputation as a guy who didn't walk, and he didn't walk a ton, but it was more the bat to ball with him, and plus the power that made him so incredible.
I'm trying to remember, Salk, have we asked Jeff to handicap the race at
I think
all
we
over the
might.
last
We
couple
may
weeks?
have once or twice.
Have we asked him to do that?
We have to do
handicap?
it again, though, because I got to hear what the heck is going on with Valdez and the Astros. Framber's out of control. What is the deal with the Astros right now?
I've never thought they were all that good.
Are you serious? We've got Alvarez back. We've got Altuve. We've got Pena having a career year. We've got Correa. We still have a Hunter and a Fromber, and you don't think they're that good, huh?
I think that they have a number of good players, and I think that their depth is generally problematic. And let's remember, a lot of what the Astros were doing earlier this season was a function of their bullpen just being absolutely otherworldly. Josh Hader at the back end, Brian Abreu has been, I feel like Brian Abreu is the Brad Lidge to Josh Hader's Octavio Dotel. Remember when Lidge was the setup guy who was just unhittable? That's Brian Abreu right now. But Steven Okert's come back to earth a little bit. Brian King's come back to earth a little bit. Bennett Sousa has come back to earth a little bit. And the depth that they have pitching wise is just not all that great. And they've absolutely run through starting pitching this year. I think they've started at least a dozen guys. And a few of those are openers, but I think they're still just trying to figure out what they've got. And I think, I wouldn't have said this last week, so prisoner of the moment caveat. I think the Mariners have as good of a chance of winning the American League West as they do of not making the playoffs. I think they will make the playoffs, but I'm saying I think whatever chance you think in your head, they have to just completely blow it with the Rangers and with the Guardians and with the Royals and to an extent with the Rays on their heels. I actually think they have just as good a chance to go and take first place and win the division.
Well, the numbers show that. They're 2 games back in the division, game and a half up in the wild card. They're basically equidistant from either, and but it's a little different because you have a number of teams at the bottom chasing as opposed to just one team at the top. But you do get 3 games with Houston next week in Houston.
Bingo.
So, that's sort of the one deciding factor is whatever happens in that series could have a huge effect on this.
Yeah, I think a sweep
How can you say yeah when I say that and say bingo and then poo-poo it immediately?
I think it was did I say bingo?
Yes. You said bingo.
Or did I say,
Which, by the way,
yeah?
First you said bingo.
Yeah, well, that was a mistake by me. I think a sweep. I think I was saying bingo maybe with regards to the schedule, because in my head, what the Mariners have as an advantage right now is the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals suck. The Angels suck. The Royals, they just keep getting hurt. It's like they've lost Seth Lugo, Chris Bubich, their all-star, and Cole Reagan's their ace. And then the Astros after that, and then the Rockies. And I do wonder, I figured the Dodgers were going to be resting guys at the end of the season in that final series. I don't know at this point. I think the Dodgers may be going full bore through the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Either way, though, it's one of the easiest schedules remaining, if not the easiest.
But does that have anything to do with how well they're going to perform? I think that's the challenge. We just watch them go on the road, get swept by Tampa, beat badly by Cleveland. It looked like it was going to be bad against Atlanta until it wasn't. I mean, it's such a that's where you just come back to the beginning of this conversation of anything that you think should be predictive just doesn't seem to end up being so.
That's a great point. Bingo, even. And I will, let's just put it this way. Amid all of the entropy that's going on in baseball this year, I still just go back to the fundamental things I believe. And one of those fundamental things is every single game where there is one team versus another, I will bet on the team that has more talent. And it's only going to work 54% of the time. But if it does that 54%, then it's, you're going to be a playoff team.
Okay, so along those lines, take that a step further. The Mariners win the American League West if they do blank. If they do what over these final 18 games consistently?
Get the starting pitching that over the last 3 years we have come to expect from this organization. And it's been interesting seeing some takes from outside of Seattle. I think there was I don't know if there was a story on Fangraphs this week or somewhere, but talking about how the Mariners starting pitching has really not been as good. It has not been the thing that has defined this team this year. And I think if the Mariners have a chance to win the World Series this year, which I believe they do, it's going to be on the backs of that starting pitching. And so I want to see Walter, and I want to see good George Kirby, and I want to see Brian Wu go 6 innings, and I want to see Luis Castillo have a classic Luis Castillo game. And I want to see Bryce Miller, pumping fastballs. And if all of those things can be consistently good, I'm not even talking great. If we can just get consistent, solid performances out of the starting pitching, I think that the rest will fall into place.
I think I agree with that, to be honest with you. And last night was a good example where you get a pretty good start, not perfect, but a pretty good start, 6 innings, 2 runs from Brian Wu. And just you make one mistake to this lineup, and last night it was walking the number 9 hitter on a 9-pitch walk in the 6th inning, and then you turn it back around and you just see when you get a pitcher who's a little tired, and then it's got to face Randy, Cal, Julio, Naylor, Gino, Polanco. It seems to just completely wear them out. Do you have any? This would be a weird statistic question, but I was wondering about it earlier. Are there any stats about walking a 9 hitter and what that does, like a leadoff walk to the number 9 hitter, and what that does to scoring? Because I would imagine if somebody were to run those numbers, somebody smarter than me, you would end up with a really, really significant increase in terms of runs scored.
Great question. I have no idea, but I can ask. I can ask our nerds. which is not to suggest that I'm not one as well,
Obviously.
but we have like nerds who are smart.
Right.
And I'm just the nerd who talks a lot.
But doesn't it feel that way? I mean, just wouldn't your gut tell you, like, you walk Leo Rivas to lead off an inning? Like, don't you think that you just make this Mariner lineup so dangerous?
Yeah, I think it's more like if you're the pitcher, you say, "Why? What am I doing? I've got Arozarena and Cal and Julio coming up, and I'm going to give them someone on base. Like, what am I doing?" And by the way, what do you think of full-time Rivas or most time Rivas ahead of Cole Young? Are you guys on board with that?
Well, we're starting to see it over the last week. I mean,
Yep.
if he's hot like this, I mean, to me, it's more of a playing the hot hand thing as opposed to one guy being better than the other. But
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
yeah, and that's sort of been
He's earned it too. Like Leo Rivas has had a good year.
yeah.
To your point of the only predictive measure when you're big, broad shoulders pushed back against a wall is talent. You're going to lean into talent. Can you help me in any way then understand, because I think we all agree this is a talented Mariners team, how they have the best record since the All-Star game at home at 17-6 and one of the worst on the road at 5-13? Can you help me make any sense of that?
No, I was trying to earlier this week. I was texting with some people saying, why are the Mariners so much better in Seattle than they are on the road? Why are their pitchers so much better there? The only thing someone could come up with is, I did not look at this, by the way. I do not know off the top of my head what it looks like, but the person said maybe it's a batter's eye thing. And so I'd be curious if the batter's eye in Seattle, how it compares to other places.
Well, and they've said that for years, that there was a problem. Teoscar Hernandez was he was the one who was really up in arms about the batter's eye here. But Josh Naylor says it's the best park to hit in all of baseball. So, I mean, like, it really feels hard to commit to anything around here. Jeff?
Brock, it's a totally fair question, and I wish I had a better answer for you.
Well, and it's going to come into play, right?
I'm sorry for you sending me out on a failure. I appreciate that.
No.
It's sort of the theme of the day. Like, you didn't really have answers for almost anything today.
I don't think that's true.
Jeff, we should honor
Can you
you.
give me an example?
Well, I mean, you didn't have the research done on walks of the 9-hitter. What's up with that? You couldn't handicap the race. You didn't know exactly why the teams have been up and down this year. All you could do was speculate. Like, what are we even doing here?
All right, that's a very fair point. I'm sorry for. Listen, here's how I look at it. I come on with you guys about 25 times a year. There is bound to be a number 25 in there, and if today was 25. You know what? I'm glad I got it out of the way.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you. We expect better next week, especially because we really committed to you. Like, we've changed some things around here, right? So last year we had Daniel Jeremiah every Wednesday at 8:30, and this year we've added Joel Klatt to our weekly lineup. So Joel had to do Wednesdays, and we're like, oh, where are we going to put DJ? Well, we can't move Jeff. I mean, like, the one thing we know is that Jeff Passan is sacrosanct here in this spot. And so, Jeff, we're moving DJ to 9:30 because we believe that strongly in you. You got to deliver.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's a you thing. I'd gladly move.
Goodbye, Jeffrey. We'll talk to you next week.
See you, boys. I'll do better.
There's Jeff